Good morning, Metru Nui! Welcome back to another episode of the Barraki Talk Show. We're your hosts, the Mielik brothers,
Jacob,
Samuel,
Thomas, and we're glad you're joining us today as we talk our way through the weird and wondrous world of Bionicle. But first, coming up on the Barraki Talk Show.
Okay.
It's like difference between like a computer and an engine.
Wait, what's the difference between a computer and an engine?
Engines use internal combustion. One of the funnier things about the Zadok is that oftentimes they don't care about Matoran criminals because to them fighting Matoran is super easy, right? You're gonna crush a Matoran every day of the week. So they like fighting Rahi instead. So like they'll see a guy breaking the law and they'll like see a rat chewing a bag and they'll be like, get the rat! So you better be a good Matoran or you're gonna lose your brain functions, okay?
That's right.
We're gonna replace your brain with coal.
All that and more coming up on the Barraki Talk Show.
Hey guys, for those of you who listened to the outro on the last episode, we did say that we were going to do Kanoka next, but we actually decided to go ahead and put Vahki next, so that's why this episode is airing this week, but then next week will be Kanoka. So in case you were confused, here's the clarification. Alright, let's go ahead and get into the Vahki episode.
Every totalitarian state needs a good police force, and when it comes to Metru Nui, none are better than the Vahki. Purely robotic enforcers commissioned by Turaga Dume, the Vahki were meant to subdue Rahi and criminal Matoran without killing them or causing permanent damage. And while that is a noble goal, in practice, things would take a much darker turn. So let's dive deep into the Vahki of Metru Nui.
Is Turaga Dume the little derpy looking guy with the weird robe?
Yes,
Yeah.
That's him.
Mm-hmm. Good old Turaga Dume.
We love a good Turaga Dume.
Are you going to introduce our guest?
Oh, yeah. Well, one of you can introduce him.
Today we have with us a special guest, Jack.
Captain Cracker Jack Sparrow.
Sorry, Jack, your name rhymes with too many things.
It rhymes with so many things, and it's also used in a lot of like colloquial sayings and rhymes.
That's so true.
Children's stories.
How many candlesticks have you jumped over?
One too many.
We got here with us Jack B. Nimble.
B. Nimble.
A. Bird.
Jack Burton Nimble.
Okay, so you know Jack Squat about the Vahki, is that correct?
I know Jack Squat.
Jack Squad.
Jack Squat about the Vahki. All I know about the Vahki is that they have cool arms that go back and forth and
Well, you
hit
saw
things.
on the 2004 Flash animations that they look pretty sick.
They do look pretty sick.
Yeah.
I'm excited to learn more about the Vahki.
Yeah. Do any of you know? Samuel, what do you know about the Vahki? Jacob probably knows stuff. He's boring.
Boring.
Sorry, I'm just channeling the audience, okay?
Hey!
Ooh.
I am clearly the audience favorite, okay?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We'll do a poll.
Yeah, we all know who's really the audience favorite.
We should take a poll, actually. I'm
They're
really
gonna
curious
say
about that.
Thomas.
They are, yeah, obviously.
I think they're going to say Jathan, Clathan, Nathan.
No, okay, so what I know about the Vahki is that they're Metru Nui's police force, if that's the right term. They're really just enforcers. Like, they exist to do Turaga Dume's will, essentially, and to make sure that the Matoran don't get out of line and just to cause general chaos.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like the opposite of what you'd want them to do.
Like chaos through
order.
but order in the eyes of Duma and not in the eyes of anybody else.
Fear
See,
will keep them in line.
It seems to me like you really don't need anything to keep the Matoran in line.
They're
except
pretty
for maybe
hard
like the lead
workers, like,
Matoran.
yeah, exactly.
Not the lame Matoran. They'll slack off like we see on Metru Nui.
Yeah, I guess that's true, but
Yeah.
the rest of them are fine. They don't need a
Remember
police
that
force.
a hardworking Matoran is a happy Matoran.
Yes.
Yeah. And thoughts can be
Thoughts can
dangerous.
be
Thoughts
dangerous.
can be dangerous.
Yeah, I think like
We do see instances of the Matoran slacking off, like those high-stakes Kolhi games, or not Kolhi, Hekalini games that they would sometimes play in the streets and like in the archives and stuff.
When Akalini was like first invented and before it was like legalized and popularized, it was so pervasive that so many Matoran were leaving work to just go play it in the streets that Duma's like, okay.
And they were like causing havoc too, because they're launching discs all over the place where people are like working and trying to do stuff.
I know.
It's like
they just never heard of the concept of fun before.
Or the concept of like using unpowered discs, which they have.
No. You got to use power. It's like how
it's like gambling.
Like in the ancient Greek Olympics.
They throw actual spears.
Yeah, they throw actual spears at each other trying to take blood. It's like, it was like that with Akalini, yeah.
Yeah. We wish it was more like the Vahki, which is today's subject.
What?
That was a subtle segue.
Super subtle.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, other than that, I don't know too much about the Vahki. I know that there's one for each different Metru, but they all have different colors for that reason.
Bunch of identical looking guys who are different colors.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
a concept.
6 of them, actually. It's not just a bunch. It's exactly 6. That's important.
Well,
and also who just so happen to have the same colors as the Toa.
So now that we know what we don't know about the Vahki, let's know what
Let's find out what we do know about the Vahki.
Stuff. Okay, so how were the Vahki made? So the Vahki were commissioned by Turaga Dume as a response to the need for a peacekeeping force, because there was a massive increase of Rahi in Metru Nui's recent past, like 5,000-7-ish thousand years. And that will never be important later. Much like Hafu.
Hey, Hafu's always important.
In our hearts. Okay, so Turaga Dume sees all these Rahi coming. He's like, we need something. And he's like, Nuperu. And Nuperu's like, oh, yes, sir. And he's like, you need to make a bunch of robots. And so Nuperu made like 24 robots called the Kralhi, which are not Vahki. But the thing is, they were super aggressive, and how they stopped criminals was just by draining like almost all their energy from them, which would leave Matoran like totally zonked out for like weeks. And so Turaga Dume was like, we're going to pass on that, shut it down. He tried to shut it down. They went crazy and ran off with one of his lab partners. So that's why Turaga Dume commissioned him again, this time with a team of Metru, like scientists around him, be like, okay, make something better. So that's when he created the Vahki. And this was all done secretly, by the way. Because Turaga Dume was this really, really sketchy guy. So the Vahki were made 5,000 years ago in the current timeline, so they were around on Metru Nui for 4,000 years. Okay. That's how it would work. And I don't know how anyone ever let them be the peacekeeping force, because like as you see in like all the material, they're just evil and destructive. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I have a comment.
Chaotically orderly.
Yeah.
Orderly,
does New
chaotic.
Peru imply the existence of Old Peru?
Yeah, it can be found in South America.
Exactly. I was gonna say, isn't that where what's it, Machu Picchu is?
Yeah. I don't know how that's relevant, but
Machu Picchu Nui.
Wait, but
that does sound like something it could be in Bionicle.
I did have a thought that it's just funny that Nuperu, like the first 2 inventions we see him make on Metru Nui, are like thinking machines. And then he makes the Boxor and he's like, I'm not giving you a brain.
Well,
no consciousness for Boxor.
Actual lore reason for that, after he made the Kralhi and the Vahki, and he sees how horribly they went, he's like, I'm going to make something so Matoran can defend themselves and not have to rely on a bunch of robots. So on
Second
Metru
Amendment
Nui,
right.
Yep, exactly. He gets his wish and makes the Boxor, which are the most overpowered vehicles ever,
right
apparently.
To bear Boxors.
I love that because the Boxor is essentially just arms.
Yeah. The right to bear arms.
Yeah.
New Peru would have absolutely loved Exotoa armor.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm so sad that he never got to mess with it. Also, I think the Vahki would have been cooler if they made out of like the bones of his enemies.
Real quick refresher for me. Are Matoran essentially immortal?
Yes.
So they can die, but
Yeah, very
they're
easily.
not gonna, they're like elves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings elves.
We
More
don't
like yeah.
Because
No,
the only
elves are
MU
good.
inhabitant we know of having like a set lifespan are some Rahi and Turaga. There was said to be one Turaga who died of natural causes. That's it.
It was a landslide.
Yeah.
Which I guess
Falling into
tracks
a
because
river of lava.
like Turaga have a limited
That's natural.
Clearly natural.
power source. Or like they have a limited amount of power because they've given up their power and their destiny is essentially complete. So it makes sense that a Turaga could die. but a Matoran, their destinies aren't really ever complete until they die or become a Toa.
Or become a Toa and
More-
then a Turaga.
Turaga Dume, your destiny's not complete till you die for me. Use him as like a bullet shield. He's watching the Matoran Civil War. Yeah, they're all completing their destinies over there.
Some of you may complete your destinies.
Okay. So, what are Vahki? Vahki are purely mechanical robots. So, no organic or whatever here. They're just normal robots.
You mean no weird slugs that go into their back cavities?
Yeah.
And no weird slugs that go into their brain cavities?
Except I lied, they're not normal robots because their brains are made of clockwork. It's clockwork brains.
Interesting.
Leaning more into that steampunk design. Yep. And in the Kirak flash animation, you can see a Vahki like let out a bunch of breath and steam. That's from his like gears releasing heat.
Interesting.
I'm like, oh man, that's so cool. But also like, that seems like a lot of work. Like just make them normal robot brains.
So
I don't know.
Do you think that Vahki have personhood?
No.
No.
Do Vahkis have souls?
Because it's like a purely mechanical brain, right? If you run it, it's going to do the same thing.
So
every
are
time.
they conscious?
No.
There's no AI there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like difference between like a computer and an engine.
Wait, what's the difference between a computer and an engine?
Engines use internal combustion.
Which is the
computer
Vahki?
would go so hard.
From what I'm hearing, that's essentially what a Vahki is. A Vahki brain. Is it?
Life and sapience in the Bionicle universe is really complicated, but very definitive. Vahki are not sapient at all.
Is there like a definitive idea of a soul?
Yes.
And okay.
Yeah.
So the Bionicle
I had a
universe
whole big-
is dualist.
Yes, very explicitly.
Where were we?
Yeah, back to Vahki.
No.
Other thing about their or their how they're made is that a lot of their parts are forged in Ta Metru, but it's assembled in Po Metru because Po Metru is the assembly place. And like so many villains, Vahki all have the ability to fly. So when they're in their four-legged mode, because they have two modes, they have the two-legged mode where they stand up and four-legged mode where they crawl around super fast. They can fly while in the four-legged mode.
Okay.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Why not?
And of course, they all have staff abilities. Try to tell that these aren't just reskinned Rakshi.
They also have the exact same function as the
Yeah.
And color schemes.
But Rakshi don't
Yeah.
spit discs.
That's true.
They do spit facts, though.
No, they don't. They don't
Do Rakshi
talk.
If
The Rakshi talk
could
show
talk,
where no one talks.
the Rakshi talk
We should
show.
do that for April Fools.
Yeah.
The Rakshi talk show where it's just 1 hour of us not saying anything.
Yeah, it's just it's all in parcel time. Okay, so they all have the ability to fly, a tactical specialization, and a staff ability. So they have Kanoka launchers also built into their heads that can teleport discs from their hives, like how Toa recalls stuff from Asuva onto their person. Works
Okay.
on like the same principle. And so all around the city, there's these big old hives. Think of them like police stations or whatever, where it's just tons and tons of Vahki in it, and they go around in patrols and recharge there. It's just like their central hub. And interesting note about their staffs, they are powered by the Vahki directly. So if like you take a Vahki staff, you won't be able to use it. Only when it's connected to the Vahki are they allowed to use it. Which I'm like, that's actually a pretty smart thing. How does
Are the Vahki staffs canonically built into their arms, or are they
No.
like weapons that they could like?
the weapons they hold?
Okay, because it's hard to tell from the sets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the fact like their four-legged mode makes it look like it's an extension of their.
Yeah.
Yeah,
body.
obviously they grip it better than like most normal people would hold a weapon, but it's still like droppable. Like you can give it to them, whatever.
Okay.
So for their staffs, the effects of their staff last 4 to 24 hours, depending on the power, which, as a canonical fact, makes one story both sadder and way funnier. So we'll get to that. And their staffs also weren't just melee. I always thought they were like you had to touch them to do something, but you can just shoot the staff power and hit someone with it, which is way more terrifying. And they also speak. like super fast and in hypersonic frequencies in Metoric, and that's how they communicate with each other so well. Because they're speaking like they're just communicating so much information in ways that like criminals can't interpret, right? However, if you want to talk to them, Turaga Dume has a room in the Coliseum that auto translates it and slows it down so you can understand them. Which I'm like, that's really cool, actually. But also more like the totalitarian vibes, where it's like only he can get to talk to the Vahki. Everyone else just has to be like, what do you want from me?
That'd be interesting though, because you could do like surveillance on the Vahki, like because you could intercept what they're saying and slow it down, so you would be able to hear. You just wouldn't necessarily be able to speak back to them. Like you could if you really wanted to make a machine that could do it, but they're not going to listen to you, so it doesn't matter. But it would be kind of cool to hear what they're saying, like essentially a police scanner.
Yeah. I also think it'd be really cool how they would interact with a Toa of Sonics, right? Because since they're all around the city always talking, would a Toa of Sonics just be like blasted out of his mind? Or would he be like, I can manipulate all
like,
this?
Like, could he jam their frequencies?
Yeah, could they jam their frequencies, right? Or like absorb or like change the words they say to each other?
That would be cool.
I think that would be sick, honestly. But I digress, I suppose. So they don't just hunt lawbreakers, they also hunt loose Rahi, like they were made for, and occasional other threats, so like Dark Hunters, the Morbizak, stuff like that. They did try to fight them. They're just not as good as Toa. Their two main mottos, though, that all Vahki use are surrender or run and to serve and protect Turaga Dume. So
surrender or run. Yeah. It's like, these are your two options. I'm not going to bias you. I'm just saying this is what you can do in this situation.
It's even funnier with some specific Vahki models, but we'll get to that. More to come. Stay tuned. Any questions about the Vahki generally?
I'm so hung up on the clockwork brains.
I also am hung up on it. I'm like, how does this work? Like, clockwork is not programmable.
Yeah.
I think in principle it is, right? You just have to have like switches, basically.
Yeah, like a bunch of if statements.
Yeah.
You need like a mechanical diode, right?
Yeah.
Or mechanical transistor.
I would imagine that there are some ways to do it, because like there were completely had like what's the analog computers, right? Like there were analog computers, but I'm not sure how you would like what the advantage of doing clockwork would be,
right?
You know, like,
but it's also like steam powered, right?
No, it's not steam powered. They just exude steam as a way to let the heat
like
out.
It would have to be so
they're powered by electricity.
Ridiculously intricate.
Yeah. Well, I just don't think there's any way that mechanically, like realistically, that you could fit that's why something mechanical could be that information dense.
I wonder if that's why they tried to, or why they went with clockwork rather than just an analog computer, is because like the analog computers that we have built are huge, right? Like they're not compact,
right?
Whereas like a clock, like pocket watches are really compact for what's inside of them, right? Like the gearing mechanism is really small, and they're capable of making stuff that small. So maybe that was the mentality. Have
you seen those like old mechanical calculators? It's basically just clockwork, but you can like input numbers and then your operation, and then just like turn it, and it turns clockwork and does the calculation.
Yeah,
that's
so
like
cool.
what I'm picturing.
That's wild,
right?
I just wonder like how would that respond, because like part of the Vahki are able to respond to stuff. So they're taking some sort of input that is physically changing the
state
of
the
program,
machine,
the state, right? Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying when I'm saying like, how would you program that in the response mechanism?
Right.
How do you actually get
Are
it
they
to take?
Turing complete?
I'm wondering.
Yes, exactly.
This is an interesting thing, and I'm sure there's nothing in lore that supports this. But I wonder if it could have something to do, because when I think of clockwork, I think of like watches, obviously.
Genius.
Which use, but like old clocks use like quartz crystals, right? Like as part of it. So I'm wondering if there's some way that you could, like, if knowledge crystals are somehow used in there as like a way of,
interesting.
Because like we don't like know that much about knowledge crystals, but I wonder if somehow they were able to incorporate knowledge crystals into the clockwork that could, you know, maybe they could allow it to like change states depending on certain like, you know, inputs or something like that. You know, I don't know. I'm not sure exactly, but
Also, do we know, like, with the other sort of hybrid species in the Bionicle universe, is the brain part of them like fully organic, or does
Unclear.
it's unclear?
well, like what?
Like,
Hybrids?
say
Like
a
the Bordakh?
Matoran,
Oh, like
right?
that.
Because it's like
We never see a Matoran's
organic-
head
Yeah, they're
bashed open.
biomechanical. Yeah.
The best theory I have, and what RSG or Red Star Games lore actually goes with, is that they have a brain crystal, which I would assume has similar
have a
functionality.
heart stone.
Yeah, a heart
Yeah.
light, right? A brain crystal. I'm like, I can
that
see
makes
that.
sense with like the original head designs too, with
Yeah,
the little
that's true.
Yeah.
crystal in it.
So that's what I just intuitively go with because it makes sense, right?
It makes enough sense.
It makes enough
just a
sense.
silicon
In
chip.
which case, that does lend
Yeah.
credence to my theory of the knowledge crystal Vahki.
Well, if they did use knowledge crystals, they could have it as a way to, so you wouldn't have to have so many levers. You could just link it to whatever level of storage the knowledge crystal is at, if there's a way to input and remove knowledge automatically, right? So it could be like if the knowledge level is at 5 terabytes of memory, do these functions. If it's at
You
4
could use it
terabytes.
as like random access memory. is
Yeah,
basically what
exactly.
we're saying.
Right?
yeah,
So you could do something like that as
because
well.
knowledge crystals presumably would be programmable in some way, right? Like
Well-
with a set of instructions. At the
Well, you
very
can read and
least,
write
right?
to them, right?
Yeah, right.
So in principle,
It telepathically does stuff.
Yeah, but you could like input knowledge into a knowledge crystal, right?
Mhm.
Isn't that the
Yes.
whole point?
Yes, that's the point of
yeah,
it. Yeah.
so like you could like sort of program it in that way. Like it's almost like a DNA or like a list of code or something like that.
Yeah, if there's a way to like access it purely mechanically, which I'm guessing is what he did based on this theory that we have, I think that would be a cool way to solve the how does the clockwork brain work.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
like
So maybe
some,
the clockwork is just like an intermediary level,
right.
where there's actually something like at a deeper level going on, and then it's translated into like a mechanical
Yeah.
motion.
Yeah.
Which would explain why the Vahki breeds get such weird quirks. Because I guess we can get into them now. Some of them are just, they feel more like a person than most people do. So,
the
like,
crazy statement.
Toys is like these purely mechanical beings are more like people than nearly anyone I've ever
that's
met.
why it was blowing, that's why it blew my mind to me that they're purely mechanical and also clockwork, because it seemed like they'd be the most robotic, right? But like the Nurok, for example, they since they go
Wait,
in,
the new rocker, which one's the red
so
one?
these are the red ones. They're in Metru. They were designed and the drawing board to like hunt in squads and take down people fast, because since Metru is such a valuable district, any like buildings you destroy is like gonna leak lava and reset production. So they wanted them to be able to like just rely on ambushes and prevent property damage. Problem is all the Nurok are like super impatient, and so they would, when waiting for a perp, they'd just be like, I want to go get him now. So they'd start fighting among themselves. And then other squads of Nurok would have to go and come in and break them up because they're like ripping up property, fighting each other. I'm like, and these are purely robotic, you said? That sounds just
That's
like
funny.
gang war and infighting.
That's wild.
Yeah. And it was just weird. Also, funny thing, they had a running joke that in Metru, a whole squad of Nurok was assigned just to watch Takua.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I never thought about the fact that Takua would have been in Metru Nui, given his background.
Yeah.
That's actually
He was just an
interesting.
average, ordinary, everyday Matoran.
Just your average, everyday, ordinary.
I have a Vahki question. Do they like exhibit any sort of minor differences between like one Vahki of the same type to another?
No, it seems to be type, like one type has these
They're like
personality
exact
quirks.
clones,
Yeah.
and then the other types have different personality traits and stuff.
Yeah, so only the 6 types have the different personality traits. Individual Vahki think exactly like the other types.
Okay.
All Nurok think alike, all Zadok think alike, so on. As far as I can tell, we don't see much of the Vahki in the story.
Yeah.
And most of the time we do see them, they're getting absolutely destroyed. So,
Since we're gonna get into it too
yeah.
as we go through, the naming of the Vahki is so stupid.
Yeah.
Like, why the heck is the Metru Nurok? Like, new. They Nurok. I don't know how you were pronouncing it,
I
but
was
like,
pronouncing Nurok, but
like
whatever.
that's the convention they used for the Bordakh. Why would you do this?
I know.
For the Bordakh for the Onu Poro.
Yeah.
Right? So it was for stone.
It was the Nuvok for Earth.
Or sorry, Earth.
Yeah. And it was the Pa Rock for Pokor, because all the others had the elemental prefix, right? But these make no sense. That's why when I was trying to show you the animations, I kept getting the names confused, because I'm like, there's no rhyme or reason to what they're named. The Zodok are for Po Metru. Why?
What was Nupru smoking when he came up with these names?
He was smoking that Zodok. The knowledge crystals he was getting information from about a really weird Meteor.
Some other kind of crystal.
He likes to crush up those knowledge crystals.
Jesse, we need to cook.
Anyway, so other thing about the Nurok is that their staff is the staff of command, which makes anyone hit single-mindedly obey a command without hesitation.
Nice.
Now, this may seem like a gross violation of free will, and it is. In fact, Vakama actually has a story about the Nurok, which is where the funny thing I mentioned earlier, because their staffs last 4 to 24 hours, right? Vakama said he got on a Nurok's bad side once and spent a month cleaning, like, pipes with his mask, which means they were continually zapping him for a month just to make sure he kept doing this stuff.
Wild.
I'm like, well, these guys are jerks.
So, just really quickly, the pronunciation of this is Nurok. N-E-R rock.
Neuron?
Nurok.
I think the pronunciation is gross.
It is a stupid pronunciation.
Yeah, someone had a few neurons loose.
Anyway,
Neurons.
sorry. But just so we are clear.
Yeah.
This really, it continues to lend credence to the theory that Nupru was very high when naming these.
And the Nurok, what were they?
Nurok.
Nerd Rock. The Nurok specific mottos were a busy Matoran is a happy Matoran and quick work is good work. Which
They were very consistent with their mottos.
yeah, I will say these are the least like overtly evil mottos of the series, which is a bad sign.
Bad place to start. It's a low bar.
Quick work is good work, though, is an insane thing to say to Tom Metru Matoran, whose work is entirely based around being as precise as possible.
Yeah.
With really
Yeah.
high stakes.
Yeah.
Like, super high stakes, because they make all the discs and they make all the masks,
Yeah.
which, like, you make one tiny mistake
And
and,
all the
it's
specialty
done.
And they
components.
make it all
Yeah.
out of lava too, don't they?
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Like
insane.
imagine running with a bucket of lava. Like that
Run
seems like a bad
faster.
idea.
So what were you saying about them not being overtly evil, Thomas?
Wait till you see the other mottos, okay?
This one's just manipulative and
Yeah. This one's
mean.
like Big Brother, where it
Yeah.
tries to hide, you know?
Pretending like it just cares about you.
Yeah. The next one, though, are the Bordakh, and these are the Ga Metru Vahki. So they have the staffs of loyalty, which makes anyone turn into a snitch, so you never know who you can trust.
Nice.
This made them the best at stopping smuggling rings, because they just hit one person and suddenly they have all the info. So one of them actually hits Nokama in one of the comics, and that's when Vakama, Matau, and Nokama are standing on top of a building, and Vakama's like looking over the edge, she just pushes him off. And that's when he figures out he can fly with his jetpack, because he didn't know that before.
How convenient.
What exactly would Matoran be smuggling?
Illegal goods.
High-powered
what?
discs.
Counterfeit discs. High power discs are fine, they're unregulated. You can get any level of disc
Okay.
that you want. Counterfeit discs, masks, immoral masks, crazy weapons from Zia or something. Stuff like
Amani
that.
Volospheres.
So-
Did they have like? Did the Matoran have like Akalini gambling rings where they like bet on games and stuff? Is that legal?
No, because Akalini isn't even
Akalini.
played professionally. It's not. You're not allowed to play it professionally. It's illegal.
That's weird.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Metru Nui kind of sounds like a terrible place to
Yeah.
live.
Yeah, it is kind of a terrible place to live. But you have to remember, Matoran are a completely different species than us. Like,
That's
they
true.
Right.
love
That's
working,
true.
especially like the dangerous jobs, like, you know, whatever.
That's what the Vahki will tell you.
Yeah.
I have a question about the counterfeit discs.
Uh-huh.
what's the purpose of counterfeiting discs? If you can get any power level at any time and there's no restriction, why would you want to?
I have
I
no
don't
clue.
understand.
Just to mix it up a little.
Throw some spice into their
Exactly.
life.
Yeah.
They're like, this is illegal. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Guys, what are all the things that are illegal? There's like 2 of them.
Yep.
Does
let's
Metru
do
Nui have like an established canon currency?
Yes. We don't know what it is called. We just know that it is like... Because on the Metru Nui online game, there is a currency called widgets. And it said that the Metru Nui currency is like widgets. That's all we know. But we do know they do have currency. Although in the Matoran universe, the most traded currency are like masks and discs and weapons. It's more bartering than it is actual like monetary institutions.
Do they get paid to work, or do they just
That's
love
what
it?
I was going to ask.
Not that I know of.
So where do they get money?
Just side jobs.
So that could be
So they
like,
do get paid to work, just not their primary job.
Mm-hmm.
that could be like a smuggling thing, like smuggling counterfeit discs out. You know, like if you have
Oh
unpowered
yeah, that's a good
discs
point.
or something.
Yeah, like put them on a trader boat.
Yeah.
Like go sell these to all the Steltons or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Sell these to the Skakti. They won't know the difference.
Yeah, I feel like probably Metru Nui Matoran would be more likely to smuggle things out than they would be to smuggle things in.
Or
Yeah.
smuggle between the Metrus.
Right. That.
Counterfeit masks.
No, I'm saying
are
they
a major
would
problem.
likely
though.
not smuggle between the Metrus.
Probably not.
Yeah. They also smuggle stuff like to different Metrus because it's illegal to be in a Metru without having a reason to be out of your own. Right. So that's another reason they would smuggle mundane items.
They
In the nice
live
friendly
for
city of
that
Metru. Yeah. So back to Bordakh. These were some of the funniest Vahki ever because they love chasing people a lot. So you know the broad Vahki motto of surrender or run? So sometimes they would like give a criminal a head start just so that they could chase them longer. And sometimes they would even catch a criminal and then let him go again so they could chase him down again.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So it's like, even if you surrender, like, you still gotta run, bro.
Surrender and run.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and they do this just for the love of the game. They just love chasing Matoran. Like, and they even intentionally worked in smaller squads so the chase would go on longer.
That's crazy.
Nupru, you're insane.
Dude, he didn't program any of these quirks into him. They just developed these.
I love that.
So like, he's like, I made a clockwork brain, so I always know what it does. And it's like, these are the most unhinged lunatics, like the side of the Paraka.
Literally unhinged.
One thing I think that is important to remember too is that like all of these things that are like legal and illegal and stuff are not throughout the whole history of Metru Nui. It's just when Turaga Dume is in power.
Yeah,
And
because we
with-
don't really know much
yeah.
before he was in power.
So like we don't know what like whether it was illegal to go between Metrus or something
It
before that.
certainly was not.
I assume not.
cannot
Yeah.
imagine it
Yeah.
would be.
Turaga
So
Dume
I
is a
think
total.
Metru Nui generally was probably a much nicer place to live before Makuta became, you know.
I don't
the
know.
ruler.
Before Turaga Dume was there, there's a massive civil war. So like,
Wasn't that like
true.
20,000 years before he was there, though? Like, that's a pretty big interim.
what do you mean?
What, didn't the Civil War happen like 20,000 years before?
Before, yeah, current time. Turaga
Current
Dume
time.
came to Metru Nui like 17,500 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So
So,
Civil
he's
War
been there
happened.
most of the
He
time
also-
since the Civil War.
But he
Yeah.
also hasn't been Makuta the whole time.
No, he's only Makuta in the last 18 months of
Yeah.
Metru Nui's like.
So Duma actually did institute
Duma's just a-
nearly all of this stuff that we're
So
talking
Duma's
about.
just
So he
like a
actually was a
totalitarian
totalitarian dictator.
He
Yeah,
probably
Makuta's
wasn't
just
at the
extra
start.
evil.
Correct.
Yeah.
If Makuta, it was a perfect cover for Makuta,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason nobody noticed when Makuta started being even more evil. 'Cause it's
Yeah.
just
Well,
like,
it's
yeah, sure.
funny because in canon we don't know anything about Duma. Like he's been Makuta the whole time that we are aware
No,
of
we
him.
see him after. He works, well, Chronicler's Corner. So, well, yeah, we can talk about
Negate that.
later.
We'll come
yeah.
back to it.
We do get more about Duma.
Right, but not before he is Makuta, just when he is Makuta.
Yeah, we know a little lore, but it's not like seen in story.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, and then back to the Bordakh again. Their mottos are trust in Turaga Dume. Oh, I'm sure that'll go well. And pride in the elite. And they have a third one because they're super special. Protecting you from yourself.
Wild.
Whoa.
Which I'm like, ooh, that's one of the best mottos I've heard.
That's great.
Okay, now moving on to the Vorzok. And these are the Lee Metru Vahki.
These guys are
Yeah. So these have staffs of erasing, which make you lose all higher level brain function and leaves only motor skills. So
Probably quite literally motor
skills.
skills.
Yeah. And it's so bad that people who are hit by this are called shamblers because they just are complete zombies that can only do basic tasks to keep themselves alive.
And it never returns? Like it's...
No, it does return.
Oh,
like their
okay.
stats wear off, but...
For what?
That gives me a great idea for a Dark Hunter. Anyway, continue.
Anyway, yeah. These Vahki were made for Lee Metru, so they were designed to avoid obstacles, but they hate chasing so much, and they're so durable that they prefer to just smash through anything to catch the criminals. So like in the Flash animation, it starts out by just breaking through the side of a building and then wrecking an entire chute to catch one guy. It's like, that seems ineffective. And so it's said that Lematoreans spent much of their time repairing Vorzok damage, which is so funny to me.
Amazing. And of course, crashing experimental flying machines.
Yeah, exactly. Most of the stuff is about destruction and repairing, I suppose. And the Vorzok mottos are for peace and the law and live for the chase.
That would make
how
a
there's
little more
live
sense
for the
for-
chase,
yeah.
but they don't want to chase anything.
I think the mottos were pre-programmed, so they're like, oh, these guys are going to love chasing, right? It's like, no, we hate chasing, but they're still stuck with it.
It was like an adamant denial. They were like, this is programmed into us. We're going to go specifically against that, and we are not going to chase anything.
Yeah. And then the Bordakh are like, can I have your motto if you're not using it?
So greedy. They already have 3.
I know. You got to finish that motto, bud. Get your own motto.
Question.
Yep.
Okay, so it says that they were designed to avoid obstacles.
Mhm.
Isn't that also what the Lee Metru discs do?
No, leave Metru disc fly further.
Oh, okay.
It was the Kometru disc
Kometru,
that
I think,
avoid-
dodge
I think.
obstacles.
Because that would have been really cool if they were somehow tied to their disc powers.
Yeah.
Because that would
That
sort
would've
of
been
make
sick,
like a
actually.
semblance of sense.
So didn't you also just say that these ones have a specific propensity to just smash through things instead of avoiding obstacles?
They're playing with anti-synergy.
Okay.
They're like like an orc wizard. They're not spec'd for whatever they're trying to do. But they are
They're
green.
min-minning.
But they are green.
Minimize your maximums. Now we move on to the Rorzok, which are the Onu Metru Vahki, and they have a staff of presence. And this is presence with an S-E-N-C-E, not like the thing you get on Christmas.
I bet the Matoran would probably like that a lot better.
They go up to Mator and they're like, I have a present for you. Psych, it's jail. You got me again. Grr. And also, since Matoran have like infinite lifespans, like they could go to jail forever. Imagine getting a life sentence and you're just in there for like 2 million years. Like, can I get a parole, please? No, but imagine if someone asked for reprieve and Turaga Dume was like, you stole a loaf of bread. Anyway, back to the staff of presence. This allowed the Rorzok to see and hear everything the target could. So essentially just make someone into a walking wiretap, which is Anua actually gets hit with one of these. I think it's Anua gets hit with one of these during some of the comics. And so all the Rorzok just jump them later on because they knew exactly where they were and what they were going to do. The Rorzok were made to be efficient and hardworking. They instead came out as complete zealots. So they're known to never give up a chase, and even they will just jump down mine shafts in non-flight mode to catch someone. They're like, gotta go fast. It's so funny.
They just wanted to show up the Bordakh. They're like, yeah, you like the chase, but you don't understand.
They're like, this is just a game to you.
Yeah.
For me, this is real. This is some sort of sick
pizza
joke.
is serious.
Money is serious. Widgets are serious.
Widgets are serious. So, funny thing, Nupru was like, oh man, these guys are crazy. I'm going to tone this down. Turns out he actually dialed it up. So the later models are even more
like kill themselves to like accomplish the mission levels of zealous.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's so funny. So
All
they're
of them are just named Casey Jones.
They just like there's like a pit or like a cliff or something. A bunch of them just jump down and just kill themselves so the other ones can like run across the top.
They just fill up
They
a
just
valley.
yeah.
They just keep jumping in until the others can
it's
run
just like
across.
World War Z, where
Yeah,
there's just
exactly.
piles of billions of bodies. Even though they can fly, they're like, no.
Not worth it.
It's about the dedication.
Why can everything in Bionicle fly? That just
Yeah, except for Toa. Well, some Toa.
Yeah.
Okay, and they also have 3 mottos. Ooh, they're special. Their mottos are Turaga Dume sees all, thoughts can be dangerous, and help Turaga Dume help you.
for these guys specifically, thoughts can be dangerous is a really good motto.
Yeah, I think that's a sick one.
Wasn't another one of the mottos help us help you?
Help
Protecting
protecting you from yourself.
protecting you from yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They just want to help you. You
They
see?
just want to help
They just want to help you. Also, like, why was Nupru coming up with these mottos? What were you thinking, Nupru? Or was it some random, like, mad Pomatoran scientist he was working with? Like, oh, yeah, these are going to be great. He's like, I know my
Probably, yeah.
coworker's going to get in so much trouble. It was probably Akmu. Akmu probably worked on these, didn't he?
Honestly, yeah, that sounds like awesome.
Dude,
I mean,
making Akmu.
Pomatoran.
Got a point.
Yeah.
Hafu would never be involved, though.
No.
Of course not.
Hapu's hands are clean.
Yeah.
Well, they're
despite
actually very
working with
dirty.
dirt and stone all
Yeah.
day.
No, he just
Hafu's
dodges the
heart,
dirt
though.
and stone.
His heart light is very clear.
Yeah. Okay. Now we move on to the Zadok. These are the Po Metru Vahki. These guys are hilarious. All of the Vahki are hilarious. I mean, they're just comedy gold.
I love these guys. They're so insane.
So the Zadok have staffs of suggestion. Yes.
It's pronounced Zadok.
What the
Like
heck?
the priest?
Yes, exactly like the priest.
Wait, the priest from what? He's
The
from-
Bible. But it's Zadok.
It's like in Handel's Messiah or the Bible.
Oh. I'm familiar with one of those. Anyway, going back to Zadok, they have staffs of suggestion, and this is the most human of the staves, or like humanitarian, I guess, because it made the target suggestible so that you could enlist another Mator and be like, hey, bud, you want to go back to work? You'd be like, oh, yeah, that sounds like a cool idea. Like, it didn't completely take away your free will. It wasn't like the staff of command or the staff of lose all your higher brain functions. But
Staff of vegetable.
to balance that out, staff of comatose. To balance that out, the Zadok are noted as using their stabs the least out of any of the Vahki types, which I'm like,
Yeah, that makes sense.
I knew there was a trick here.
They're less fun.
Yeah. So the Zadok are the fastest in a straight line and the physically strongest, and they love fighting. So the funny thing, one of the funnier things about the Zadok is that oftentimes they don't care about Matoran criminals because to them fighting Matoran is super easy, right? You're going to crush a Matoran every day of the week. So they like fighting Rahi instead. So like they'll see a guy breaking the law and they'll like see a rat chewing a bag and they'll be like, get the rat! Yeah. So essentially in Po Metru, crime is legal, which is why Akmu lives there. I knew it. Okay, and they're
Crime is
Wait,
legal.
you're telling me that they like to go after rats, so how come they don't go after Akmu?
ooh, 'cause he's a slimy little weasel. They only discriminate against certain rodents. Okay.
Yeah, quoting our own thumbnails, baby.
Yeah. Hey, that thumbnail was my quote to begin with. Their mottos are also hysterical. Their mottos are might makes right and one step ahead.
They're just straight Machiavelli.
Yeah, exactly.
These
I'm like,
mottos don't make any sense.
These mottos
No,
are
they
all
make
just
too
like
much
actual
sense.
mottos from real life dictators.
I know. I'm like, who came up with this?
Pretty sure George Orwell wrote Metru Nui.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
This is all even funnier knowing that there is a Metru Nui Ministry of Industry or of tourism. So like imagine like, oh yeah, come to Metru Nui. Like might makes right. It's like,
That's crazy.
Wait,
Thoughts could be
the
dangerous.
Metru Nui Ministry of Tourism is an actual thing and not something you just
in
made
lore,
up for
yeah,
the
it's
shorts.
an actual thing.
That's wild.
yeah.
That is wild.
Uh-huh.
I love that.
It's also the fact that they're referred to as like the Ministry of is very 1984.
That's so
Yeah,
it really
1984.
is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
I know. When I saw that,
Such
I'm
a
like,
nod.
yep. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then finally we come to the last Vahki. How are these pronounced, Samuel? Kirak?
Iraq.
Probably like
I will look it up.
Okay, place your bets on how it's pronounced. I'm thinking Kirok.
I
How's
think
it
it's gotta be
spelled?
Key
K
Rock.
Rock.
Keerakh.
It is Key Rock.
Kirok, booyah.
Yep.
106. That's my score. 1 out of 6, rather. Not 106. So, the Kirok are the Kometru Vahki, and they have staffs of confusion, which make the target lose all sense of time and place. Fun. So, like, they have to
So it's just a less good version of the vegetable staff.
It is literally seen as a more benevolent version of the
okay.
vegetabilizing staff. Like the Kometru Matorn are like, at least we're not those
The
guys,
pressure
right?
cooker.
I was just gonna say the steamer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The Vorzak.
because at least you
Yeah,
know.
see, Jack, the original one, that's the pressure cooker. This one's the steamer,
Oh,
right?
yeah, okay, right. It's
It
just
doesn't
blanching your
disintegrate
brain.
your vegetables. It just,
Just a light blanch.
For some reason, the Kirok are the only ones I can remember which one they actually are.
Because they have K.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah,
Oh,
I know. I'm always like
okay.
Kirok. That's my rock in this ocean of nonsense. Which I don't know why they decided to give one of them the beginning of the elemental prefix. It's like that doesn't. What are you doing?
It's also crazy because Bo and Vo are also prefixes for other
yeah.
elements.
Yeah. Anyway, so living in Kometru, these Vahki actually have like a special power. They developed a highly sophisticated prediction capabilities, which border on straight up magic, right? So in the story, Nuju and Wanua are trying to find the Great Disc. Like, oh man, we gotta find the Great Disc. But these Vahki, they know where we're gonna go, or how we're gonna get to it. And they're like, wait, we don't know where the Great Disc is, but they know we're going to the Great Disc. So they'll all be at the Great Disc, so we can just follow them to the Great Disc. I'm like,
That's genius.
genius plan, but how the heck do the Vahki know that? What kind of...
That's great.
And it's not even a magic power that they're built with. They just figured out how to do this. So yeah, they're just magic. They just figured out how to do that. So theoretically, anyone could learn the skill of knowing where someone's going to be in the future, which sounds insanely useful.
If you have knowledge crystals built into your brain, which is the going theory, obviously.
Yeah, which is the going theory. But all the other Vahki had that, right? But only these Vahki figured out how to do it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so anyway, their mottos are obedience is happiness and order above all. Not the most threatening, but definitely not good.
Yeah.
Might makes right.
I don't know.
that's my
Obedience
favorite
is
one.
happiness is kind of crazy.
Yeah,
That's like everything is awesome levels of.
yeah. Well, order above all is also a good one when order doesn't correspond to morality. Like,
Right.
oh, you're doing something unorderly? Blam. Gonzo. Although in Kometru, that just means like talking a little bit too loud and they're
Right.
going to get you. So, there are actually more than 6 types of Vahki. There are 8 types. Yeah, there's special forces types that they bring out for really dangerous Rahi. The first one is the Krahu. So this is one of the special forces one, and it's 6-legged, and it's used for extremely dangerous Rahi. So each limb can detach and fly around on their own.
What?
And each part of this Vahki is electrified. It's like it can just stand there, detach all its limbs, have them like go and poke stuff and zap it.
Sounds a lot like Voltron.
Well, and even more like Voltron, they can do this because each of the limbs has part of the Vahki's operating mechanism in it, right? So it's like its entire nervous system is spread throughout its body, and it can just detach.
That is.
I know, I was like, that's actually a sick concept. And when they're all attached to him, it can actually shoot clouds of stun gas. So I'm like, this sounds pretty sick to me. Now, even more special forces than this is the Kranu. And this is like a giant, everyone look at the picture here. Okay.
really quickly, it's pronounced Kronua.
What?
Kronua.
We're gonna have to come to Samuel every time we have a pronunciation.
Samuel,
in
pronunciation
question.
is your job, so go.
Yeah.
Make sure to go on the notes on everything and just type in how it's actually pronounced.
All right.
No,
Whoa,
correct
this
us
thing
real
is
time.
crazy.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the Kronua. I think these things look sick. But these are the giant, bulky, extreme special forces Vahki made for mass archive breakouts.
Nice.
Which, that's a bad thing that it happens often enough. You need a special Vahki to go take it out.
Based on everything we know about the archives, though, that does not surprise me even remotely.
Yeah. And so they didn't have any particular like staff powers or whatever. They were extremely strong, and there's one special power was that they could turn into sand at will, like Sandman from Marvel. So they were great for like confusing tons of Rahi, because like they'd be in one place, be in another place, like turn into a dust devil, sweep a Rahi to somewhere else in Kansas, I don't know, and then just, so that's when they were mainly used. I'm like, that's actually a pretty good ability, because they're really quick on when they disintegrate and when they rematerialize. So those are all the all the Vahki types that there are. So any Vahki thoughts?
I have a thought just about the last
Thoughts
two.
can be dangerous, Jack.
Oh, okay. Well, let me check these. I have a thought about the two special forces Vahki. It just seems like the way you described their abilities seems opposite to the use cases that you said they're used
Yes,
for. Like,
I was
it
confused
seems
as
like
well.
They should be swapped.
I know. I was like, wait, that one is.
It's like
what?
Crowd control gas and 6 limbs is used for dangerous Rahi for the big guys, and then giant, bulky, ultra powerful giant is used for crowd control.
Correct. Yep. They're playing with anti-synergies on these.
Yeah.
So, for my Vahki thoughts about the Vahki lore, yes, I think they're actually pretty cool in concept. And aside from the flash animations, I think they're abysmal in execution. Because in the story, you just see them come in droves and get annihilated in droves.
Yeah.
Just like,
They act
Whatever.
much more like battle droids in the story than the like highly skilled police force that they seem to be set up for.
yeah,
They're not intimidating.
yeah.
Which is so sad.
I know, it's so
Because
sad.
like you watch the flash animations and you get that feel of totalitarian.
Yep.
Like they are really watching you and they're gonna make sure you obey, but then that's not actually carried through.
And it's also crazy to me, like, all of the marketing material, like, all of the animations, all the flash animations, set up the Vahki as just being, like, incredibly, incredibly evil. But when it comes to Turaga Dume, they're like, oh, yeah, everyone loved him, you know? He was a great guy. I'm like, no, clearly not. He made these secret police in secret and then has them run around, like, taking away people's brain functions. That seems bad to me.
Thomas. But the people who would be criticizing him are his underlings, right? People that he has domination over, right? So naturally, they can't say anything about him, right? They can't say what they actually think about him. So they don't. What are they going to do? Speak out against him and just get thrown in jail? Or
And it's also like
Or get suggested to love him instead.
yeah, exactly.
it's also a major theme in 1984 where like you're actually like called by the state to actually change your thoughts to be in line with the narrative, right?
Yeah.
Which I mean, thoughts are dangerous.
Your thoughts are dangerous.
Maybe the Matoran are just really good at double speak.
They're good at tree speak.
Well, I was going to say the
Shoot
Lematoran.
speak.
shoot
Shoot
speak. Yeah,
speak.
shoot speak.
Shoot speak.
Also, that is a funny thing about the Lematoran, like being more free generally. Is that why do you think the Warzak were like had the most ruthless staff and were just like shut them down now because it's like
probably,
Lematoran are the ones
Like
who are gonna.
lean
That would
hearted
They're the
makes
only
sense,
ones who
yeah.
actually care to exercise their free will.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And they're the only ones who have airships, which make it incredibly easy to get off Metru Nui.
Yeah,
That's true.
That's
So-
fair. Good point.
Yeah, that's sad. And then all the brain damage is what makes them. It's what makes them
Want to
shoot
drive
speed.
The impetus of shoot
and
speed.
drive cars at insane speeds until they break
It's
or
just
crash.
years and years of breeding of just stupider and stupider
Wait, do you
motor.
think the brain damage like transmits genetically
That's
to
what
their
I'm just
children?
wondering. Like,
I guess they don't really
wait, no.
reproduce like that.
I guess that's true.
And it is funny though that they
It's
keep
just because they've been like hit with these staffs repeatedly over and over because their lifespans are so long, and like every single Lematoran is going to get this
I
at some
wonder
point.
if it does do eventual permanent damage. Like,
It
you
has
know
to.
how
There's
like
no
in
way
Harry
it
Potter
couldn't.
when he has to write on the he
Yeah.
writes with the quill and it starts writing on the back of his hand,
And then it becomes
and
permanent.
Eventually it becomes permanent.
Which is such a
That's
sick
kinda-
part of that book.
It's so disgusting. But as I was like thinking about this, it kind of makes sense that if you were hit multiple times by the pressure cooker staff, that like you would probably eventually start to lose some sort of brain function permanently.
But also, they keep their motor functions, and what are they known for? Flying motorcycles and stuff.
That's a good point.
There
Just
might not have been all that much going on up there beforehand.
It's true.
Good theories, guys. Good theories.
Yep. Although, one thing about the Vahki I think is cool is the idea of a non-damaging, non-lethal staff makes a lot of sense when if the Matoran stop working, like that's seen as like a religiously bad thing. Like Metru Nui wants you to keep working. Matoran love to keep working. So it's like that's actually a natural outgrowth of what that society would make, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're literally designed to do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think the Vahki are held back by the brevity of the first year of the Metru stories. Like, we don't get to see enough of the Vahki, and there's so many other villains crowding them out.
Yeah.
Like, they don't get room to breathe. So they don't feel like oppressive or like a police force because they're always fighting against the rebellious Toa who eventually win. So it's like, we don't get the right perspective to make them truly menacing.
Right. Kreka and Nadiki get way more like time, story time than Vahki even do.
Yeah.
So
Would you rather have more time with Nadiki and Kreka or a bunch of like Bordakh just chasing a Matoran for 50 minutes with the Benny Hill theme?
does it have to be either or? Can we get both?
It can also be the Run song, you know, run, do 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 do.
Go Donnie, go, go, go.
Any closing thoughts before we go to Chronicler's Corner?
No.
Okay. You are now entering the Chronicler's Corner. The following content may not be appropriate for viewers unaware or unacquainted with the wider Bionicle lore, as major plot points and reveals will be spoiled. If you wish to avoid this section, skip to this time in the podcast.
59 minutes, 59 seconds.
Viewer discretion is advised. This is going to be a quick Chronicler's Corner because almost everything we see of the Vahki is in that 1 year because Greg hated writing them. None of the fans seemed to care about them. So it's like, we'll just dump them off. And that Chronicler's Corner thing is when Makuta zaps up all of the electricity from the power plant to beef up for the Legend of Metru Nui fight, it fries all of the hives of Vahki, disabling a bunch of them, but also altering the surviving ones. And how it altered them was it slowed down their voices and the pitch so that they like talked in normal, like deep, gravelly, menacing Matoric voices, and it supercharged their staffs. So like the effects are like permanent and super dangerous, might even kill you. So if you got hit like with one of the vegetableizing staffs at that power level, like you're done.
Zap.
Right. And so they actually are there when the Vizorak come to invade. And so they end up fighting the Vizorak a bunch of the time. And then the Toa Metru come, and they're stuck between like Vahki fighting Vizorak and Vizorak. It's like, that's really bad.
Yeah.
And then eventually the Vizorak just wipe them all out, which I'm like, oh, kind of disappointment.
Yeah.
Because with them being fried, you could open up story opportunities like what you're talking about, where like they could gain like some semblance of free will and like have a supercharged permanent affecting staff or whatever.
Yeah.
Become a dark hunter.
Do you think the Vahki have like survival instincts? Because basically, in
I would say
principle,
they-
they're the most powerful thing in Metru Nui, right? Like, obviously the Toa are
Like
gonna
as a
overpower
military
them, but
force,
yeah, they're like
because the numbers
the
are
top of the food chain.
There's like 5,000 Vahki.
Right. So do you think that they are programmed with any sort of like survival instinct, or do you think they're just sort of programmed to chase?
I would say they probably seem to be, since the Rorzok specifically don't have much of a survival instinct. So I'd assume the other Vahki do, right? How much it is like a normal survival instinct remains to be seen, whether it's just how can I complete the mission, or is it like I'm actually afraid.
Can they actually sort of turn from an offensive strategy to a defensive strategy?
I don't know. Like we said, we don't see much of them. I would assume not. Like they seem, I don't know, because I want to say they seem robotic, but they also seem very normal, wacky being. So it's up to you, your headcanon, I suppose. Anyway, that's the only Vahki Chronicler's Corner thing.
Nice. You are now entering the set and technical portion of the podcast. This is where we examine the real-world production and set design of the LEGO Bionicle toy line. Okay, now we're on to the technical section, so Jack, go crazy.
Yeah, you had some questions about the color
I had
schemes.
some color choice questions. It's
Jack
a little
sees color.
it disturbs me a little bit that I don't know what the names of the two Vahki are, but the red ones and the green ones, their transparent colors are also red and green, but swap. And it's just, I think there's so much of the transparent color on the Vahki that they just they're not very well distinguished, or it's hard to tell which ones, like just from a glance. One of them doesn't have like a red flavor and the other one has a green flavor. It's just, they both sort of look like Christmas.
Yeah, I agree.
It's true.
And it's weird because all the other ones don't have flip-flops, right? So it's like the one for God Metru is blue with the orange, but the one for Po Metru is not orange with blue.
It's like brown with
It's brown with blue, and it's like, so
I will
it's
say
very strange.
I really do like the brown with blue, and I like the black with the neon green.
That is my favorite one.
I
Those
think
are the best
that
colors.
was my
Inspired
favorite,
choices.
Yeah. I think the white with the light blue also looks pretty good, but that's like a way more classic color scheme.
Right.
But like the black with the neon yellow looks sick.
The red with the green, I'm also a fan.
Can we rank their staffs?
We
just
can.
in terms of
I
aesthetic
think so.
appeal?
Okay, so I'm going to have a difficult time with the Bordakh staff because I don't think of it as a Bordakh staff because it's used in like a billion sets. Not really that many, but it's used in a lot. It's used in a lot of sets as different things. And so I don't immediately think of it as a Bordakh staff. I think of it just as like a general Bionicle part. But the other ones, yeah, for sure.
I'm really liking the
Rorzak.
I'm liking his staff.
I like
it looks
the-
sort of like it sort of has like a jackhammer function or something. What was the actual ability of that staff?
The Staff of Presence, where you could
Like
see
Christmas.
and hear everything they said. Yeah. You said they look like Christmas, so they brought the Staff of Presence.
I really like the Keyrock staff with the like saw blade kind of design. I think that one's really cool.
Yeah, that was the Vahki that I had growing up, and I still to this day really like it.
I also think the Zadok one, or Zadok. I think the Zadok one also is like really interesting with like the hook kind of feature. Is kind of neat.
That's the green one or the
brown one.
oh yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say like the white one, the black one, and the brown one have the coolest stabs, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
The other ones look sort of like clippers or pinchers.
Yeah.
Which is like, I guess, a cool flavor.
I don't know, I've never been a huge fan of their staffs specifically. No. I'm just like, they look so unwieldy and like kind of over-designed. So I'm just like, whatever.
I think that's what I like about the Keyrock staff is it's sort of the most simple, like the most straightforward.
The New Rock one looks really cool as like crab pincers or something like that, but it just feels like it doesn't fit with the rest of them. That's the red one.
The red one, yeah. Right, it does look sort of like it has lobster claws.
Yeah.
Or like the little like chip bag clips.
Right, and it's almost like too thin or something.
You're right about the Bordakh staff, though. Like, it is just, in my mind, a Bionicle piece. Like, I use it for all sorts of weapons and vehicles. Like, it's just so useful.
it doesn't look dangerous, really. Like, the other ones all look kind of dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And this one just kind of looks like nothing to me.
Well, I like that it has, it's just semicircular and is filled in all the way. There's not like huge gaps.
Right.
So it feels more like...
feels hefty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like like Bordakh shield type, almost. Where it's like,
Yeah.
I love when it's round. I like roundish things, I guess.
I kind of wish that the stabs had like a little bit more semblance of like pointing towards the actual ability of the staff, right? Because there doesn't seem to be a lot of intentional visual language between the...
Well,
Yeah.
that I think is a miscommunication between set designers
Yeah,
and
that
story
could be.
designers. Because, like, the same thing happens with the Rakshi, where it's like,
Yeah.
for some reason, the red Rakshi, that's name is escaping me at the moment. Turok, like, has flame staffs. Why?
Because
he's red.
Turok, duh.
It's like, okay, and the blue one has like a aquatic theme for no particular reason. And it's
Gurok.
like, yeah, Gurok, thank you. It's like, why? Like, you know, there's no story reason for this. It's just a visual design thing, you know. Which, you know, you could justify with the Vahki, not with the Rakshi, but with the Vahki, you could justify that by saying, well, that's the design language of that Metru, you know, and so like we'll design them to look like they fit in and belong in that Metru, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is a fair argument, but it doesn't make any sense for the Rakshi.
All entirely true.
One thing that I wanted to talk about in particular that I was gonna mention with the Metru, the Toa Metru, but I forgot to mention. At this point in 2004, LEGO is going through a color shift with some of their most commonly used colors. So dark gray, light gray, brown become light bluish gray, dark bluish gray, and reddish brown. And so that's when that shift happens. So if you ever have like old LEGO pieces, you'll notice that like some of them, like the grays, don't look like they match and they're like different colors. It's because LEGO went through a palette refresh, they called it, at this time. And they got rid of a whole bunch of colors. Like they eliminated a bunch of colors, and they continued to do that all the way up through like 2006 or 7, somewhere in there. So you actually see what's interesting with these is because they reuse some parts from previous like sets, you see that there's existing parts that are now in the new dark gray color in particular, but you also see some of that in light gray and like the gears, and then also you see the browns also change, which is super interesting.
Was that mostly because of like material properties of the colors that they were using, or was it they just wanted new colors, like they just didn't like the old color?
I think it was. It's actually not like super clear, and if anyone knows, feel free to let us know in the comments. But from what I understand, it was just more of like they wanted different colors. So like they wanted a more versatile gray, right? Because the gray that they had was designed specifically for castle sets, and so it was all very much like stone, more like a stone color. And the new like bluish gray is just a more versatile color,
More neutral.
Yeah, more usable. And same thing with the brown, is like the old brown is like very desaturated, and the new brown is like super saturated. And so you can tell a difference for sure. And it just makes it more usable in a wider variety of things. Although the new brown ironically ends up having issues with the mixture that makes it super brittle. So like if you ever have brown pieces and they snap from that time period, like it's really around like 2005 all the way up through like 2012, they have an issue with like that brittle brown, and then they end up fixing it. So like new brown pieces don't have the same issue.
Luckily, I put all my stock into lime green parts, so I should be good.
Let's talk about lime. No, I'm just kidding. We will talk about lime green, but not right now. Anyway,
we will.
So I did want to just mention like they were going through that palette refresh, and that is also something that contributes to like the Metru and the Vahki just having a very refreshed look, right? They have this. It's just
they're focused, they're flourishing, they're in their lane.
Right. It's just a very different, like it's a very distinct delineation between the Nuva and the Metru, and like 2003 and 2004. There's like a clear line there.
Yeah,
and it's not just Bionicle. It's like all Lego sets.
A lot of the Vahki parts and stuff, I'm like, this feels like current Bionicle,
Yeah.
right? Or like what I think of as the Bionicle that most of the parts are.
Right.
It also seems to me like they like transitioned even harder away from using like a lot of Technic pieces and stuff and more towards like specifically designed Bionicle pieces.
It's true.
Around that period.
Yep. It is super true. Because like up until 2004, it's like all still very Technic based in a lot of ways. And then 2004 rolls around and it's like, okay, these are action figures first and foremost.
Right.
Yeah.
And you still see a lot of that Technic influence, but it's just really not as common. And it actually ultimately comes back later, actually, when they do like some of the larger vehicles, like in 2007, 2008, you see a ton of Technic, like making a huge return. But it's interesting that they dropped that for so long.
Do you think that second shift just coincides with like Bionicle's fan base sort of getting older, and so that opened up some headroom for like more expensive sets, which then opened up headroom for like just more vehicles and that kind of thing, which would involve more Technic pieces?
I do think that's a big part of it. Yeah, as the fan base grew up, they had more disposable income, and it became easier to sell larger sets.
Well, they also changed their kind of like selling things, right? Because it started off as like pocket change, you know, it's like even a small kid could afford one Bionicle, right? Then it turned more into like bigger sets, better pieces, more expensive. So I'm guessing that also played a part in it, not necessarily just because of the audience shift.
No, there's like a variety of factors, I'm sure, that played into that. But yeah,
it's sort of like a trend that you can see in a lot of different Lego themes, I feel like.
Yeah, it starts out kind of like testing the waters and seeing. Except Bionicle didn't really. I mean, it started out with a huge bang.
The mantis crabs.
Yeah, and all the Rockshi were expensive for the time.
Yeah.
You know, like they were.
Well, because that's when they saw the price bump of like the Toa and villains, right?
I'm talking like from the beginning, like the Rahi of the first wave were all pretty expensive.
Oh, I thought you said Rockshi. I was like,
yeah, no, with the Rahi.
Oh yeah, the Rahi.
Yeah.
Crazy expensive.
So
it's also, I feel like Lego would never do that anymore, where they release essentially the same set in like 6 different colors and then just like do that a bunch of times.
Because no other theme has had the lore to back it up.
Exactly.
true. Yeah. Well, Lego has moved away. They had a very like collectible mentality for like many years. And actually that was like pervasive through a lot of different themes. You see it in stuff like Exoforce. You see it in things like, I mean, Harry Potter at that
What'd
time.
you collect in Exoforce?
Well, like just the idea of like, here's a mech, here's another mech, here's another mech, you know, and you like collect them all and bring them together, right? And make like this kind of like army. And you did that. I mean, it was like every Lego theme. Mars Mission was like that, you know, where it was like, they're very samey in a lot of ways, but like they all had like their distinct features, and you could bring them together and have this like very cohesive look to it. And that was just like kind of a staple. And like you don't really see that much anymore. Harry Potter did something similar to that, where it was like you could buy a bunch of different pieces of Hogwarts and then put them together and make a giant Hogwarts, right? And then they just like dropped that in like somewhere around 2009, 2010. They like dropped that mentality completely. And then it's only recently come back with like some of the new Harry Potter sets and like the modern ones with a vengeance. But
so back to Bionicle.
All of the
really early sets, like as far as I understand, all of the first wave sets had multiple builds, right? So when did that stop? And did it ever completely stop, or?
No, it actually never did. Well, it pretty much stopped at the Glatorian. So, 2009, you pretty much didn't see alternate builds as like a fundamental. You definitely didn't see them as a fundamental part of the story, But I mean, they were continuing to be fundamental, even crucial aspects of the story all the way up through 2008.
So like, okay, so with the Vahki, are the two other like special forces Vahki, are they just the combination builds?
Yeah,
Oh,
they
okay.
are. Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, and like, so there are certain, like, at the beginning, you have like the Kaida or the Kaida, depending on how you pronounce it, which are like, crucial aspects of the story. Like the actual combination is like a part of the story, right? Like being able to bring the Toa together and the Matoran together and stuff like that, right? And then like the Rahi, as far as I know, didn't have a ton of alt builds per se, but they did have a lot of like smaller Rahi builds and things like that you could build from like existing parts or Toa or things like that. So there were a lot of like kind of one-off alt builds, and then it became like every wave after this had some sort of alt build with some sort of story explanation, right? So like the Toa Nuva had their Kaida, the Matoran had it, the Bordakh had theirs, and they were called Kaida Va or something. Like, I don't remember. They had two different ones, but they were also Kaida.
Yeah, Bordakh Kaida Von Bordakh.
And they
Kaida
could
Va
like
or something.
they could like also do the same thing that the Toa could do. They could like combine, right? Which like felt like in some ways that was supposed to be like a staple of like all Bionicles could do this, but then it really ended with the Bordakh. The Rakshi also had it, but they weren't called Kaida.
The Bordakh had it, and the Rakshi had it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So that was kind of like a thing. And then that did not become a thing in 2004. What shifted was not the alt builds. What shifted was the story purpose of the alt builds.
Right. So they're not like, combinations.
They're not in universe. They're not combinations.
yeah, it's just the Kralhu or the Kronua or something.
Right.
Yeah, the Kronua.
And so then like the Toa Metru had a combiner model, but that was
Kraka,
which is a different character. And the story explanation is like, this is a character that can mimic anything. And also like it can...
So you can mix and match.
And so it creates this like monstrous version of like all 6 Toa combined together.
Well, that actually had a really cool lore purpose too, because when Kraka turns into all 6 of them, it's called Toa Nui, right? And it explicitly says like the Great Spirit prevents this explicitly because if Toa were able to do this naturally, they might be the most powerful being in the universe, right? So when Kraka does it, it's super unstable because it literally should never be done as like a universal law, and ends up going crazy and losing it, right?
It seems like the best parts of Bionicle are where there's like a really dynamic interplay between the set design team and the story writing team.
Yeah.
Because it's like you put together these pieces into some new bigger set, and then it's like, okay, well now we have more material to write into the story, right? And
well, and that is like at its absolute peak in 2006 with Voya Nui, with the Ignika. That's 2006, right?
Yeah.
Because you have Botar, which is a combiner model of the Titans,
sick.
which is an important character in lore.
A combiner model of 2 of the best Titans ever made.
You have the Cardus Dragon, super important combiner model. You have... what's the other combiner?
Umbra's not a combiner.
No.
Riddle me this.
Man.
He combines my worst design ideas and reality.
I'm blanking out. There's another one that's like a really important combiner, but then actually also in 2005, you have the Shadowed one is a combiner model, who's also a super important character in lore.
Super important.
You have like Sentrak, who's not super important, but is a combiner.
But he's based.
You have, I think there's at least one other one that like they end up being like in lore they're really important
they're
characters.
Separate different characters.
Yeah, but they're separate different
combinations.
characters. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's the shift.
Right.
It's not that there's less combiners later on, except for again when you get to like the Glatorian, they just stop having combiner models. And I think in 2008 there's only one, and it's Spyra. It's like a Makuta experiment hybrid gone completely wrong, and it looks horrible.
Yeah.
Because the sets at that point stopped being designed for that purpose.
Yeah, they're designed
And
for
they're
that
literally
specific
just
set.
yeah. This is just an action figure at this point.
Yeah.
That also happens to be able to come apart.
Yeah. Right. I feel it's unfortunate because I think that's the point in time where I was like starting to get old enough to have some interest in Bionicle, and it was just going downhill from that point. At least in terms of like the set design didn't seem as cool, because I remember looking at some of the older Bionicle sets in like Lego catalogs and stuff that I had and thinking they were so cool. But then as soon as I was like actually had more of an interest in it, it was just not quite as great anymore.
It's
Tragedy.
true to a certain extent. I mean, there are really good things about later Bionicle. The stories just got way better. I mean, like more consistent in quality, I feel like.
I don't think so, because I think Metru Nui is all pretty consistent in quality, and that being it's kind of variable.
I guess I would say it gets
Thomas
more
is like the definition of
It's
consistent
consistently
is
in-
Let me
variable.
explain. It gets a little bit more accessible and a little bit more understandable.
The
later
story?
on. Yeah.
No.
You don't think so?
Wrong.
You just spent like an hour before this trying to explain those years of the story to Jack, and it made no sense.
In the context of the greater story, yes.
Because the stories are dependent on all the stories before.
Anyway.
Whereas
it
on
doesn't
Metru
matter.
Nui, it's like a bunch of robots show up on an island. Boom.
I think the stories are better
all you need
later
to
on.
know.
I think they're more fleshed out.
Well, maybe it's because you already have like a groundwork laid of all of this lore and this whole story world.
Could be.
Right.
Yeah, could be. Anyway. But I think there are good and bad things about early Bionicle and good and bad things about later Bionicle, and it's all, it's just subjective. So
Except Umbra. He's just terrible.
Umbra is terrible.
He's the anti
We can all agree on Umbra.
He's just the worst at everything.
Him and Akmu. Anyway, let's actually get to the technical part.
Yeah, remember when we were talking about Vahki?
Yeah.
I remember the Vahki.
So I think the Vahki are really interesting in terms of design. They don't really do anything original, but they kind of perfect a lot of like features and functions that older, like previous sets have, like their precursors. So much like the Rakshi, the Vahki are identical in design and part count, and their only differentiation is color and their weapon design, obviously. So they all have the same two like major play functions, which are the ability to rotate their shoulders, which again, much like the Rakshi, although this one's a little bit smoother and a little bit more well thought out in my opinion. Although it does rely on a lot of like specialized parts, which some of those parts are reused. So like it reuses actually the same piece that the Rakshi have, for like kind of the lower body. And it also reuses the turntable piece, that the Matoran from the 2003 wave use. So there's really only like one super specialized piece that contributes to that turning function, which is impossible to use in mocks essentially because it's just such a weird piece. But that is really the only like really specialized piece. So they do a good job of reusing pieces, and then bringing them up to a modern standard. They also have the ability to shoot discs from their quote unquote mouths.
Yeah.
Which is like, should in theory look so weird, but somehow it looks really natural.
I think it's because of the transparent thingy around it. It like fills it in more.
Yeah. Yeah, they have like that weird like transparent
Mandibles.
triangular hood
Yeah.
thing. I don't know. It works. I don't know how or why, but it works.
Looks pretty freaking cool.
It
Yeah,
does look
it does.
sick. Because we built all of the Vahki recently, and I was looking at it, I'm like, these things are really cool
Yeah.
looking.
So they had like really two kind of poses. They had the standing upright pose, like the more humanoid one, and then they had like a more like spider-like or like bestial kind of like on all fours pose. And you're
The
supposed
surrender
to
pose of like, please sir, get out of the car, and the run.
It's interesting though, because on all the box art, you kind of turn the Vahki around backwards, like from how they are in their upright pose, to do like the more like bestial, like four-legged pose. So like what I would consider to be the back of the Vahki is like facing the ground, which is interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's cool in some of the animations you get to see him like flip over and do that, and it's
Right.
like, oh man, that's spooky.
Their color schemes were a mixture of the new dark gray color, and then whatever base color for their Metru, exactly like the Toa. They're all the same base color as the Toa.
But better than the Toa because they have the secondary colors.
Right. Yeah. Aside from their hood, eye, brain thing, whatever you want to call that.
The
But-
hood.
Sure. We'll call it the hood. That works. I don't. Yeah.
Jacob knows all about the hood.
Whatever.
Jacob
So-
looking at the Rorzok, I know these guys from the
Wait,
hood.
can you look up what it's Samuel? Look up what it's called on Bricklink.
The hood.
Okay. So the
Watch it be
Vahki,
called the hood.
if it's called the hood, I'm gonna freak out.
Boys in
I will
there.
crash out.
It's called a Bionicle head connector block eye / brain stock.
That's basically what I said.
I can't believe you got it on the first try.
That's wild. I mean, I was looking at the parts, but I don't remember specifically looking at that one.
Head eye brain connector piece.
I'm a genius. Anyways, so I feel like the Vahki mostly use a healthy mix of like old and new parts. I'm looking at specifically part X240 ball joint 5x7 arm with dual axle hole at 90 degrees.
I heckin' love that part.
The funny thing is I know exactly what that part
It's
is.
the Mata arms, basically. The
Oh.
like you know the one that Lewa has with its axe.
I could
It's-
never forget
It's
that arm.
It's that arm. Which of course shows up in many sets. But yeah. And then they would also have new parts that would debut specifically with the Vahki. I think one of the most notable ones is 47328 Vahki leg lower section, which is like kind of the
Such a good part.
right.
Yeah.
I know,
It
right?
really is.
Is that the beefy
It's the
calf?
chunk. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the
Oh,
beefy
yeah.
calf.
The Chungus calf.
Yeah, that's a good part, and it shows up a lot later on.
Yeah,
like, that
I feel
really
like that
does become
does
a
sort
mainstay.
of. I feel like that progressed a lot of the visual language of Bionicle
It did,
from that
yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely moved it into that more modern era for
Well,
sure.
I also like it because it gives the Vahki like a unique spin. Because you'd expect the Vahki, like a bunch of chasers and enforcers and like police, to be more thin in profile. But they got these massive feet. It's like, oh, these things can mess you up. And then when you see them running through buildings, literally running through buildings, right? It's like, yeah, I can believe that.
Right. And then
Thunder
the other,
thighs.
yeah, that is a whole new definition. The other one that you see show up a lot is the Vahki 47330 Vahki torso lower section with 2 ball joint and 4 pinholes, which is like the alternative to like the regular kind of hip piece that connects with a bar. And you see that show up a lot because it's just a really good structural piece.
Mm-hmm.
And it allows you to do a lot of like much more useful things with it's that piece.
Oh yeah.
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 I could imagine my brain. You didn't have to show me.
Right. That also shows up next year with the Visorak. It's one of the main.
We're not making fun
You
of
mean-
you behind your
I'm
back.
making fun of
You
him.
mean brain eye stock thing? Anyway. So there are some specialized parts that would never be seen again, mostly the head part. So there's the head connector, block eye, brain stock thing, which apparently I did look at least once because I wrote it
We
down.
need to say its full legal name every time.
And then the Kanoka disc launcher that makes up the launching mouth never shows up again aside from the Vahki.
Which is sad, because you'd figure something designed to go like inside a Bionicle that shoot disc would be used more often.
right? That's what I was thinking. Like, and it's not an unusable piece by any means.
Yeah,
like,
that's what's weird about it.
Yeah, it's very strange that it doesn't appear. So those 2 pieces just never show up again outside of the Vahki and Nadiki, obviously. So like the Matoran of this wave, the Vahki also included collectible discs, 1 of each, and some of the Vahki sets were released as special edition movie tie-ins and included movie versions of The Mask of Time and a Disc of Time, which was simply an orange disc with the number 199 and an image of the Mask of Time printed on it. not very lore accurate, to say the least.
Nope.
And also ugly. I'm sorry. It's just not good.
Maybe that's how Vakama made the disc so fast, because it just looked like the mask
Right.
on the disc.
He knew exactly what to carve.
He's like, this is easy.
It's very weird. It's cool that it included the Mask of Time. Weird that it is that. Fun fact, the Mask of Time also, you can find it in orange, because at Legoland, they gave them away sometimes. Orange Mask of Times. Normally they came in like the Bionicle gold color, but there are some out there that are orange, and they came from
orange the
Legoland.
canonical color of the Mask of Time after it does its thing?
Maybe, I don't know.
After
Maybe
it gets dropped into the sea and like rusts for like 20 minutes.
Maybe
Who
when
knows?
you heat it up in your molten protodermis.
Maybe when you dip it in nacho cheese, that's the canon color.
Yeah. And let me know if
Maybe if
if there
Matercell
is
was a hot
another.
Cheeto girl.
What?
Or
What?
just a normal Cheeto girl.
I was gonna say.
I was like,
Yeah, Jack, don't shoot too high.
That was a great adjective to use.
hot Cheeto girl.
Crazy.
He meant attractive Cheeto girl.
Right, obviously.
So a phrase of Matanui's a hot Cheeto girl, never would have
Oh
thought
my
of that.
gosh. So the first Vahki that we'll talk about individually is New Rock, which was the dark red Vahki of Metru. It had trans green eyes, and
Pause.
its disc.
It stands for translation, like what happens in the room with Turaga Dume.
There you go.
There
Good
you
stuff.
go. See?
The disc that it came with was a Metru disc and had the Metru symbol printed on it, and also the number 166. So all of the Vahki had the same number disc. I don't know why they did it like
They're
that.
all using Metru discs.
No, like they all of the individual Vahki had the same number printed on it.
Oh, yeah.
They weren't different numbers. Like it wasn't like the Bordakh.
Yeah, where all
You
each
could
individual
get a
set had a
random
different
chrono.
chrono. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank goodness.
Same color, but always a different style.
Yeah.
So yeah. New Rock's weapons were twin pincer claws, which was the staff of command, and would also make an appearance in a couple of system Bionicle playsets. Do you guys remember those?
Yep.
Barraki Outpost.
They made system
Bionicle sets.
Yeah, Bionicle sets. So like they had miniature Bionicle figures, right?
Which were
like
terrible
they
most
weren't
of the
mini
time.
figures. They were like buildable. Like
Yeah.
they were very
Similar
weird.
to what they did with like Hero Factory
Yes.
more recently.
Yeah, exactly.
With the,
yeah.
Just not as good.
Interestingly, the first ones, the first time they did the playsets was with Metru Nui sets, and
Yeah, like
they,
the Vizirac,
yeah,
right?
Mm-hmm.
but they weren't articulated. The Toa weren't, or any of the figures, which I guess were probably
just
only
the
the
Toa,
Toa.
yeah.
They were just one solid molded
weird.
piece.
Yeah,
it
it was
was weird.
heckin'
It's
whack.
like something you'd get out of Monopoly, you know?
Yeah.
But
I saw-
after that, they made them articulated.
I saw a mock where someone had an amazing use of those because they used them as like tiny statues that the Poe Matoran were carving, which was so smart.
Yeah,
I'm
that
like,
is
oh, that's
smart.
genius. But yeah, and then the later ones had like these little slightly articulated ones. Like they had articulated arms, but not articulated legs for some
Yeah,
reason.
I remember those.
Very confusing. But yeah, so there was the Barraki Outpost 8892 and then 8624 Race for the Mask of Life. Both used the New Rock staffs for some reason. Bordakh is the next one. This was the dark blue Vahki from Metru. Bordakh's eyes were trans orange, and its disc was printed with the Metru symbol and the number 225. Are we going to do it every time, Thomas?
No, it's once per episode.
Okay, just checking.
It still stands for translation.
Bordakh's weapons were the Staff of Loyalty, and they were twin blades with a sort of wavy industrial pattern to them. They were by far the most ubiquitous in use in later sets, appearing in such legendary sets as 8943 Oxalara T9,
Heck yeah.
8764 Vezon and Fenrak,
That's a good set.
Heck yeah.
8940 Karzani for the trap thing.
Heck
The arms on that thing. And then the system playset 8759 Battle of Metru Nui.
Heck yeah. Didn't break the mic.
Woo! And then you would also see it in even more sets throughout the next few years of Bionicle's run. It just appeared. It's a good piece.
They loved
very
that piece.
useful.
It just appeared. They didn't even intentionally put him in the set. They're like, how'd this get?
Yeah, for whatever reason, that one just looks Bionically.
Yep.
Yeah. The next Vahki is Vorzok, which was the dark green Vahki of Lee Metru. It had transparent red eyes, and its disc was printed with the Lee Metru symbol and the number 555, which was the only one that had the same number each time, and that's very satisfying to me. Vorzok had twin scissor-like staves, which were the staves of erasing, which would only see one other appearance in the same year, 8623 Kreka. He had it as one of his weapons.
Wait, I would like to say that the Vahki, a lot of their staffs look like pinchers, and like they go on like all their legs.
By a lot, you mean two.
Yeah, and they like go on all their legs,
1/3.
which means this is another example of Bionicle crabs.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Or spiders, depending on how you look at it.
And
Spiders are just crabs, Jacob.
also, I'd like to take back something that I said earlier, or amend it, that I think actually this does thematically work with, because these are the ones who erase memories, right? Who wipe your brain.
So
it kind of makes sense.
like
You're like
snipping-
snipping out the
Okay.
sort of
Sure.
some thematic connection there.
Yeah, I can see that.
Has the right flavor.
Yeah,
Okay, next we have
much like
86
vegetables.
Ah. Next we have 8617 Zadok, which was the Zadok, which was the light brown Vahki of Metru. This one had transparent dark blue eyes, and its disc was printed with the Metru symbol and the number 334. One thing that's really bugs me is that all of the Bionicle sets that are like sets of 6 or more all go in order, right? So they like the set numbers go in order. For whatever reason, the set numbers don't match the Metru order on the discs, which really bugs me. Like,
What?
Because like the Metrus go 1 is Ta Metru, 2 is Ga Metru,
Yeah.
you know, and so they have like a specific order up to 6, and the way that the Vahki are ordered in the sets doesn't match that.
Range.
And
It's just trying to fit in with the naming scheme of being
Right.
complete random.
and it's like there's no real reason that it should, but it's just annoying that
It
it
would have
doesn't.
been nice.
Yeah.
A little nice Easter egg. Yeah.
So the Zadok's weapons, which were the staves of suggestion, had these sort of hook-like claws, and these weapons would actually remain exclusive to this set. They were never used again.
Wow.
Speaking of ones that were never used again, Rorzok, which was the black Vahki designed to patrol Onu Metru. Its eyes were transparent yellow, and its disc was designated 665 and was printed with the Onu Metru symbol.
And transparent stands for translation.
I said, okay, sure.
Oh, sorry, trans stands for. Wait, did you say
I said
transparent?
transparent.
He said transparent this time.
Transparent also stands for translation.
That's too confusing for me to wrap my brain around. So the Rorzok, of course, had the staffs of presence, which had that drill-like look that we were talking
cool-looking
about.
one.
Wait, they're called the staffs of presence, but they're the Vahki of Earth, where they could get coal from. So you better be a good Matoran, or you're gonna lose your brain functions. Okay,
That's right.
We're going to replace your brain with coal.
Rorzok, much like its elemental cousin of stone, its weapons would remain exclusive to the set. Very interesting.
Dang.
Wow.
Yeah. Which you seems like it would be a piece that you could use elsewhere.
Maybe
I
we
don't
could
know.
use it, but Lego couldn't.
Right. They're not
So
smart
like,
enough.
I'm too full.
We're not intelligent. They're not intelligent enough like us.
I'm too full.
Suspiciously Rorschach's shaped stomach Lego. Oh, I can't.
I don't like that at all. Moving on. Last up, we have Kirok, which was Kometru's very own Vahki. It was white with transparent light blue eyes, and its disc was printed with the Kometru symbol and the numbers 447. Kirok would hold 2 saw blade-like staffs of confusion, which, like the Vorzok, would only appear in one other set, also from 2004. 8621. Anyone want to make a guess?
Chronanu.
Turaga Dume and Nivok.
Wow, good guess. It's almost like you read it.
You're good at this.
I am really good at this.
Yeah, it was used as the wings on Nivok, so which is actually a pretty good use.
Yeah, they look like good wings.
Yeah.
Nivok looks weird, but that's a different discussion.
I also
because it has a giant hole in the middle to put Dume in.
I think
Not
that
its fault.
the other cool thematic thing about these weapons is that it looks like they would actually be useful to have in that Metru.
Right.
Right. That's sort of an ice element. And it seems like you'd want something to give you some additional friction or
well, and
ice
they do
cutting
frequently
abilities.
climb up and down the towers
right.
instead
Perfect.
of flying for some reason. It's like, sure, bro.
We got these cool stabs. Why not use them?
The fact that all of these different things can fly is just so pointless because they have so many other ways of getting around. It's like, why do you need to fly? What purpose could that serve?
Because flight heckin' rocks.
I mean, it's cool, but
If you had the
Do you
choice,
think-
would you fly?
yeah.
Do you think the Lei Matoran ever would like get on the back of a Vahki and ride it around?
Probably, yeah.
Instead of their motorcycle?
It seems like a good way to get your brain fried permanently.
Also, if all of these things can just magically fly, what's the point of airships?
Because they hard science fly with magic discs.
Yeah, but why?
Because the Vahki aren't friendly enough to let you ride on their back.
Jacob, it's because
But if they have the technology to make a Vahki fly, can't they just make anything
it's because
fly?
Vahki aren't Matoran. We have the technology to make an airplane fly. We can't fly.
If you really dig down into that at all, that's a
Wait,
really
also think
stupid
the Vahki have to
response.
transform an entirely different mode to fly. When they're in the humanoid form, like Matoran, they can't fly.
Yeah, why is that?
So perhaps when you're humanoid, you can't fly as a fundamental rule.
Maybe if you got down on all fours, then you could fly.
Unless you're riding
Jack,
a
Jack, the reason is because they need to distribute their weight
They need
better.
more
Because
surface
they need some
area.
more surface
Wait,
area for that
think
lift,
about it.
you
Because
know?
the Vahki or the Rakshi, they have to put their feet together to
Wait,
fly.
really?
Yeah, the
That's
Rakshi have to
funny.
put their feet together to fly. Nadiki and Kreka have to put their feet together to fly. The Vahki have to do the four-leg thing to fly. So maybe it is just a humanoid shape where
Maybe
it's like,
if you
no,
just did
I
something
have
weird with your
two-
feet, then you could fly.
I have 3 examples that break that. Their names are Lewa, Vakama, and Matau.
they fly with external tools.
They
Yeah,
also
which
have
the
Matoran
elemental
have
powers.
access to.
Yeah, okay, whatever. It doesn't matter. Anyways. That's the end of the technical
They
section.
can also fly if they just hit themselves with a levitation disc. Boom, you're done.
Boom.
Boom.
All right. Let's move on to the community section.
Thank you.
For what it's worth, my section only took long because you guys kept interrupting me.
That is true.
That is
Yeah, and you
actually
never
pretty
interrupted
true.
me.
You are now entering the community portion of the podcast. In this section, we showcase some of our favorite creations from talented and passionate members of the Bionicle fandom. So first off, we talked about the Vahki online animations, the Flash animations.
yeah.
So if you
Oh,
get a
yeah.
chance, go to the BioMedia project website and find them there. I'll put links in the description so it'll take you directly there. But if you want to look for it yourself, that's where they can be found.
Also, just once again, huge shout out to BioMedia Project and all the hard work that they're doing. I mean, just seriously, thank you if you're part of the team. Like, you've made this, what we're trying to do, like, possible. And also, it's just such a valuable thing to be able to preserve all of this media that would otherwise be lost.
Yeah.
Do they also have all the old retired Flash
They have
games?
Yeah, they have all the games.
They have
It's crazy.
everything.
The amount of content that they've saved is remarkable. Where it's
Yeah,
like,
that's
how
pretty
did you
cool.
even find a way to keep
Yeah.
that alive?
They
Yeah.
have the release games, like the ones that
Wow.
released on like actual platforms.
Wow.
On there. It's amazing. Yeah, it's incredible.
Let's go Pirates.
Yeah. We're not doing it for profit, so it's not really
Right.
piracy.
Yeah, okay.
Non-profit
Not
piracy.
like Lego's making any money off of it anyway.
Yeah. Didn't stop it from shutting down Masks of Power.
for Masks of Power.
Yeah, literally.
Okay. Gosh.
Anyway, but also watch the Vahki animations because they are sick.
They really
they're
are
really
super cool. All right, so first up we have Wolf Dog art on X. We'll just go with that one. And this is a Vahki and Necron mashup, and a Necron is from Warhammer 40k.
Mm-hmm.
All you Warhammer 40k fans out there, we've thrown you a little bone.
So this, for all of you, is what it looks like. I have no clue what the Necron looks like, but this thing is quite legit.
Yeah, so in 40k lore, the Necrons are like a bunch of ancient Egyptian Terminator robots who are waking up with like all their super advanced tech to kill people. Which I think the Vahki would love. Like, especially the Bordakh. They're like, oh yeah.
Dude, those swords.
I know. They
I
look
love
so
the
cool.
swords. I love the depiction. Like the transparent blue or highlighted blue. Like that is excellent. And I wish the set had that looking at it.
I also love all the like the sharp edges, you know, like on the shoulder pads and like on the hood brain connector piece. Like it just looks so cool.
Yeah, just artistically, there's a lot of detail that makes it look really interesting, gives it good texture, just without being overwhelming though. Like it's very clear.
Phenomenal. Next
up, we have a Vahki revamp by Awesome Joel 27 on the TTV message boards. So this is a revamp of all 6 of the Vahki. It uses the traditional, like most of the traditional pieces. Actually, it may use only parts from the set. Like there are additional parts, but they are the same parts that could be found in the set, I believe. Well, I guess there are eye pieces. I don't know. But
they look super cool.
They're basically just bulked up. Very well done. Just neater, a little bit more imposing looking, I suppose.
I really like the addition of that kind of central piece that brings the torso a little bit lower, and then also the feet being small. I really like for some reason.
I know, it was weird because I was looking at them. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Then I looked at their feet. I'm like, that's so strange. But I'm also like, it gives them like that. What's the weird legs that digigrade? It kind of has like the digigrade leg.
Yeah. Yeah, I like this a lot.
Yeah, makes them feel more alien, menacing, like they're ready to pounce and get you, which they are.
And it's cool because at first glance, you don't notice a distinct difference from like the actual Vahki sets.
I know, I was like, oh, these are just like normal Vahki though.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
Yeah, you look closer though and you're like, yeah, that's just a big improvement.
Well, I think like I was trying to say, I think it's really helpful that it uses the parts from the same era. And so then it looks like a natural addition to it. It doesn't strike you as, oh, this is a modern version of the set. It looks like this is just a more fleshed out version of the set that could have been built at the time.
Yeah.
So I think that's cool.
I also think it's cool that like the original Vahki heads don't look like too big for the body, like they seem to fit.
Right.
But this one the heads on this one seem like the body seems to be built around like the size of the head. Like it looks much more to scale with it, which I think really helps as well.
Agreed.
Very cool. Next up, we have Vahki fan art by Ruben Menzel on ArtStation. I really like this one because the thing that immediately comes to mind when I look at it, when it's on all fours, is the aliens from A Quiet Place. Like something about it just screams like, oh yeah, these creepy crawlies that look like they would tear your face off probably.
Yeah, what I thought of it was the how the weird fire dogs are described in Fahrenheit 451, where it's like they have a bunch of like crazy spindly legs, right? But like they have this intensity when they lock onto you. I'm like, the way this thing is crawling around, like it's gonna get you, right? So I thought it looked sick.
See, this to me looks more like what you would sort of imagine Vahki to look like, but not what they actually look like.
Yeah, because like it has the digigrade legs, like the small, spindly, like pouncing street stealth vibes.
Right. And like but that's what I think is kind of cool about Lego's design is like it's bulky, it's intimidating, right? Like this is not intimidating in the same way that like something bulkier and beefier would be.
Yeah, like you can't imagine this thing breaking through a wall.
Right, exactly.
Which is, I think, is a weird, like a strange choice that Lego did go with the bulky design. But like I said, I applaud them for it because I'm like, it is a direction I would never have taken it.
Right.
But it still works.
I think part of what works so well about the Vahki design in general is like the way the front of its face is sort of upturned like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this design like captures that well.
Yeah.
And capitalizes on that.
It almost looks like a shark. Like the front of the face.
Definitely
Very
striking
much.
some primordial predatory response.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also love that you can just hear the clack, 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 clack as like it runs toward you. Like I'm looking at this thing, I can hear it so vividly.
Yeah.
I also like the addition of the extra arms, like the two smaller arms.
Yeah, the two tiny.
Which would allow it to be able to do things even while in like
Four-armed mode.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
did you notice the hands in the beast mode? They're like turned.
Yeah,
Yeah,
turned
they
up,
fold back.
I like
sort of
backwards.
like answers our question that we were
Right.
talking about earlier.
That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Those are sick. Good job, Ruben Menzel.
I was just gonna say also like he has some other Bionicle sketches
Yeah,
in
his
that, and
Brutaka one is crazy, but the craziest one, the coolest one to me is the Karzani
the
one.
Karapar is really cool. This is a.
I wanted to bring up. I saved Karapar for the Barraki episode because like this is such a cool version of Karapar.
Very cool. Not anything related to Vahki, but neat nonetheless.
Oh.
All right. Next up, we have a Vahki commercial Reanimated.
This is cool.
Yeah. So again, we'll post the link in the description there.
Cool.
Really cool.
Yeah.
That's good.
Good
Dude.
use of the
Yeah.
catchphrase there.
Yeah, my favorite part of that is when Vakama jumps in and is like invisible, then turns visible, has the disc launcher cocked. Because in the original commercial, it looks a little strange how he shows up and it's not as cool. But watching this version, I'm like, it sells the fantasy of like the urban Toa fighting against the police state. And I'm like, that is so cool.
Yeah.
And I feel like it also really like highlights what part of what was really cool about the set design for the Vahki, which is how like I feel like the poses that they can hit are just really on point.
And they're pretty unique among Bionicle.
Yeah.
Like most Bionicles are just, they're in the non-flying humanoid position.
I also need to do my obligatory shout out to the Blender users out there. They're just making the world a better place.
So true.
And
there
I'm
is
not
some-
biased at all,
We're
by the way.
planning on doing like a dedicated community episode at some point, and we have a lot of cool stuff to show you. With that in mind specifically.
Okay, that was so the commercial Reanimated was by Mattercell Entertainment on YouTube.
Specifically a guy called Danny Burns.
Okay, there you go. And then the next up we have Vahki Bordakh, sorry, animation.
Yeah, by Zeb on BZ Power.
It's the same thing as the other one, but the mixes. He remixed
the
the
audio
music.
remastered.
Well, he upscaled the music to actually hear anything other than droning.
Next up, we got some. Well, Samuel, go ahead. Sorry.
We got some sick Vahki art. This is by Blight Choose Art Vault.
Blade Shoes are involved.
Blight Choose Art Vault.
And there's actually a lot of really cool Bionicle drawings on this one. I particularly am a fan of Makuta Mizrix.
Ooh,
That's
that is
Mizrix.
sick.
That is cool. Yep, so there are quite a few drawings here, and there's the Vahki one, which actually is very similar to
I was
the other one. Yeah.
Interestingly, they gave them the extra arms too.
Yeah.
So this one's very spindly as well, and then it has an extra set of arms that hang down when it's in its four-legged pose.
These are very Nadiki in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Which I think is where people are getting this interpretation of the Vahki from.
I think it'd be really cool to see somebody do an actual mock, sort of all of this interpretation.
I also
Yeah.
like that he includes Matoran for scale.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Right.
like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
They're way taller than Matoran.
Yeah.
Like, imagine having a bunch of, like, 16-foot cops roaming around.
Right.
It's like,
That would be terrifying.
All right, next up we have a Vahki movie concept art. This is on BioMedia project.
And this is actual like design concept art from the Legends of Metru Nui movie.
Interesting.
And this is very similar to what the Vahki end up looking like actually in the movie.
It is strange to me how much they like changed some stuff and then kept so much other stuff trying to look like the sets, right? Like the upper torso in this piece is completely different than how the actual set is designed. Right. But then like the weapons and even some of the arms and the back of the head, they're trying to keep that design language that's seen in the set, and it's very strange. It's like, if you're gonna go that far, why not just completely design it in a way where it's maybe referencing the set but not even reminiscent of the actual like physical constraints of the set, like having
Rakshi
the pinholes and yeah, exactly. Yeah. The Rakshi were ugly. I didn't like the design that they did for the movie, but they did not try, like
it's a completely
were
separate
not,
design.
Yeah, they were not afraid to say, let's do an entirely different design.
Also, interesting thing, they had the backwards facing digigrade legs on this concept art.
Yep.
Like, that's just what you would think the Vahki would have.
Yep. And they went with the spindlier, leaner one. Mm-hmm. And what's also interesting that they did is they made the weapons, the staves, connected to the Vahki, which I think is like the canon interpretation of that. But I know you said it wasn't, but that's what I think is probably true.
It's also just based off of how, into it.
Just based off of how the sets look, right?
It's also interesting that the one on the left has two different kinds of
staves. Yeah.
Which I assume is probably just, I didn't want to draw it twice.
Yeah, that could be.
That guy when he figures out the copy paste button.
This is clearly drawn by hand.
Thomas can't comprehend a world in which there's no copy paste button.
I was just thinking like you could scan it in a computer and then
Thomas has zero concept of how art works.
No, I don't.
Anyway,
is art when you draw things?
Next up, we have more epic Vahki art. This is by Genius Fetus on DeviantArt, who I think we've actually looked at some of their stuff before.
Times. Good friend of the channel who we've never met or interacted with, Genius Fetus.
And if you're watching, let us know because we could shout you out.
This is definitely entirely
we shout him out
different.
like every episode.
True, good point.
This is an entirely different take on the Vahki that we've seen.
Now this is what I call like beefy. Like this is like
they're much more monstrous. Like this is monstrous rather than mechanical. Like the other ones are clearly a mechanical, robotic, hard surface design. This looks like more like an elite almost.
But it has the chunky calf.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's more lore accurate than all the other ones.
And no detrigrade legs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Interestingly, like the weapons are also clearly weapons where the hands are wrapped around the handles. Yep. So
also funny, this is a Bordakh. So imagine like 3 of these chasing you.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
That would be
and surrender isn't an option.
Genuinely horrifying. The other thing that this one does that I really like is it keeps the like the hood piece and the mandibles.
Yeah. I noticed
which
that
all
too.
of the other ones get rid of one or the other.
Yeah.
Which is super interesting.
That's a good point.
But I actually think this looks really cool and unique.
I really like this design.
It really screams Halo to me.
Yeah, it's very Halo inspired for sure.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
Ooh, if you scroll to the right, Nadiki looks sick as well.
Oh man, I didn't even see that. Holy cow.
Again, using the mandibles, right? Like it still has. I think it looks actually way better on Nadiki than it does on the Vahki.
Distinguishing it from the Vahki head.
Yeah.
You know, like it is clearly
they look different,
similar, but not identical.
His Rakshi is terrifying.
I know the Levok looks so cool. It's one more to the right.
Sign in. Oh, that is so good.
Yeah.
I love their designs because they feel like what the Bionicle sets would actually look like if they were like real. You know, like a lot of them they just redesign them. These don't feel redesigned. They feel like
translated.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to go down a super neat rabbit hole full of great drawings of Bionicle, check out their page. All right, last up, we have a Vahki or Wahi Enforcer prototype, which was originally posted by Christian Faber.
Ooh, I know him.
Personally.
I go to his house every day. He doesn't know, but...
So... again, this is very strange looking to me. It looks like Kitongu.
Yeah, it does.
I love it. but it is
I really like
it's
this
not
design.
at all how I would have imagined. Like if they had gone with this, I don't know how I would have felt.
Well, this is like, okay, this is someone said, I want robotic police. This is what I would immediately think of.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
If someone said, I want like slightly alien looking robotic police, I would be like, yeah, that's what that is.
Yeah. It's also funny because it's like, if this was the concept art, they did slim down the Vahki for the final product, but you can definitely see where the chunk came from.
Right.
Yeah, those calves are looking monstrous.
Yeah.
Bro doesn't skip leg day.
Look at his
8
feet.
leg
They're
days
like,
a week.
Yeah, this guy's making Roxy feet look narrow and
Right.
slender.
Yeah.
And
I
also,
love it.
what's that piece on his head?
It's
Like the
that's
shell
clearly
thing.
some sort of like designed piece specifically for
Okay.
this.
Yeah.
There's actually quite a few of those, like his upper arms as well,
Hmm.
which are also, that piece is also used on the legs.
It's very Roxy reminiscent. Like that piece in
Mhm.
particular, it looks like
Yeah,
the
you can see
shoulder
the
pieces
design
of the
language,
Roxy,
which
yeah.
like clearly they shifted away from that design language.
It's very boxy,
Yeah.
bulky and boxy.
He looks like he just came from a 16-hour shift at the Matoran crushing factory.
True.
All right.
Anyways,
So to conclude the community section, we're actually going to talk about the challenge. So we had posted a Bionicle Day build challenge a couple weeks ago, and we wanted to show you guys the results that we had a couple people send us. First off, we have an unspecified name creature man. This is by Anne.
What was the category for this one?
I have no clue.
Someone didn't follow the submission rules.
I think it was build a guy.
Well, I gotta say, huge success.
Yep.
I do like it. It's
Yeah.
very quite impressive actually.
Yeah.
Fun fact, the wings actually do go up and down.
Ooh.
There's a mechanism on the back there.
I like the headdress on the back of Kongu's
Yeah, that's what I
mask.
like too.
Like, that really gives like a samurai sort of pseudo flair.
It does. It's like Queen Amidala.
I think the mixture of gold and silver is done very tastefully here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which paired with green is something I never would have thought of. Also, like the triple leg pieces is interesting as well. It like gives that like super tall, like Aztec god regal
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah, that's sort of
Right.
the vibe I've been getting is like, it
Mhm.
looks like some spirit, like of some sort of tribal.
Like you'd
Tribal
sacrifice 20
tribe.
people to see this guy.
Yes, exactly. And then he just shows up looking like that with his mouth all scary.
ooh.
Love it. All right.
It's like,
Next.
bro, I accept cash or credit as well.
Gosh.
Next up, we have Fish by Faye/Plague. And you can see the way Plague is spelled on the screen here. So the category
screen
for
right here.
the category for this was fish or fishy.
That is a fish.
Oh, and there's another fish.
It is a big fish.
I love this picture. The comparison next to the shark.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes,
That's
I
the
understand.
IKEA shark.
I see where it came from.
Blavis or something.
You could say there's
Exactly.
always a
Yeah.
bigger fish.
There is always a bigger fish. I just really like it. It's so tight.
Yeah,
like it's
so tight
It
and
is
compact.
really compact. And also the use of the slicer,
Slicer
arm
arm.
is so good.
And it just looks so natural and perfect. It's
yeah.
Stay tuned for Slicer/Throwbots episode.
This looks like what the Gomatoran are just fishing for
Yep.
all day.
Yeah,
totally.
And then cooking up
Yep.
in the night with their little bonfire.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
fight the Makuta fish.
Yep.
It's a good use of the rock defeat too.
Mhm.
I really do. I just like it all together.
I know. The
It's-
whole shape and silhouette just
Yeah.
beautiful.
and it's like simple too. Like in terms of the amount of pieces, right? It's there are not that many, but it's super effective at getting across that idea.
Well, yeah, they obviously spent their time refining the one small concept to something really, really good.
Yep. Very well done.
Great job.
All
Was
right,
that our
guys.
only
Well,
submission?
that concludes. Yeah,
Those
that
are only
concludes the submissions.
But
and
you can still do the challenge if you want. We may look at them on the show.
We will look at them.
yeah, if you guys send them to us, it doesn't matter that the due date's done. It's you
every
can
day is
send them
Bionicle Day
anytime.
here.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So
Except for Bionicle Day.
That's
Double Bionicle
Yeah.
Day.
super ultra mega Bionicle Day.
Bonkle Day.
thank you guys for sending in the submissions. That was fun to get to see what you guys did.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right, that concludes the community section.
Ooh, the community
Which
section's
means
been
that
concluded.
concludes our episode.
Oh, we really need like an outro section or something.
Which means you're never gonna get to see Jack again.
Oh. Well,
because
Jack,
after this, he's going to the pit.
The pit.
they don't know what the pit is.
Oh, after this,
Wait,
he's
did he
going
already
to see
pick-
Turaga Dume.
Oh. After this, I'm getting vegetabilized.
Hope you like a vegetable, little boy. Do you have any closing words of wisdom or thoughts for us, Jack?
I would say my closing piece of advice would just be a working Matoran is a happy Matoran.
Good
So
advice.
true.
Good advice.
Quick work
It
is
just
good
speaks
work.
to the heart.
Yeah, the
That's
heart
it.
light.
The heart light.
Anyway, that's the end of today's episode. Look out next time for the next episode. It will be about a topic, most likely.
I think so. Pretty sure.
If it's like this episode, it won't be about a topic, but
You invite me back.
All right.
yeah. And if you liked Jack, make sure to say in the comments, we don't want Jack back on the show.
Exactly.
Yes.
See, that's brilliant, because if they don't want you back on the show, we'll think
Reverse
they like you.
psychology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you don't like him, make sure to hit that subscribe button. That'll show him good. And if you're ambivalent, hit the little bell, but don't subscribe. That'll confuse you mostly.
Right.
Hit him with the staff of confusion. And confusion stands for translation. End the episode. End the episode.
Stay frosty like a key rock.
And remember, the Rorzok just want to give you presents. This brings us to the end of today's podcast. If you enjoyed the discussion, please follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. If you like to watch instead of listen, you can also find us on YouTube. The Barraki Talk Show is only made possible thanks to viewers like you. Thank you.